I desire for you to decide who you choose to be and how you wish to experience that, so that you might know who you really are, not through having been told or assigned or ordered, but rather through having created yourself in that way, given all the options, offered all the choices, presented with every possibility. Now you have known the power and the glory of being divine through the freedom and the will to be divine. This is divinity expressed, not simply bestowed. This is godliness experienced, and that has been my purpose in creating life itself. And so, you have been the here and the there of it, the up and the down of it, the left and the right of it, the big and the small of it, the fast and the slow of it, the shallow and the deep of it, the light and the dark of it, and yes, the young and the old of it. You're using physicality to know and experience all of it, every conceivable expression, by producing a contextual field within which you may choose who and how you wish to be. This contextual field is the greatest blessing of your life in this dimension, because in the absence of that which you are not, that which you are is not. That is, it is not experienceable. In the absence of dark, light is not. In the absence of small, big is not. In the absence of fast, slow is not. And in the absence of what you have called bad, what you have called good is not. Therefore, judge not and neither condemn, but be a light unto the darkness, that you might announce and declare, express and fulfill, know and experience who you really are, and that all others whose lives you touch might know who they really are as well by the power of your example. Is this not what all masters have done?
You know, you've said these words to me many times before. Still, within this present context, they make even more sense to me, ring even more true. But why wouldn't this be true also for highly evolved beings?
As just noted, highly evolved beings do not embody for this reason. They have already experienced physicality fully. They have done so to completion. So they do not start over in each embodiment, unless it serves them to do so in a particular physicalization.
What does that mean?
If a highly evolved being enters into physical form in its dimension, it is because that Heb wishes to recreate and re-experience something that cannot be created or experienced in the metaphysical state. Starting over from an initial embodiment state is rarely required in order to do this. If a highly evolved being enters into physical form not in its dimension, it is because that Heb wishes to offer assistance to sentient beings in the realm of the physical in the understanding, expressing, and full experiencing of themselves as who they really are. Hebs may then choose to start over in a life cycle as they physicalize.
But why would Hebs even choose to offer assistance to sentient beings in a dimension other than their own?
So they may continue to express and fulfill, know and experience who they really are at the next level, and the next, and the next, and the next. Hebs are choosing to experience and express themselves not as the seeker, but as the answer. The whole universe, the entire cosmos in each of its dimensions, is filled with sentient beings, each imbued with the exact same desire, the desire to express and experience their true nature and their true identity. This involves a process of first moving through and knowing every aspect of being physical, then moving through and knowing every aspect of being metaphysical, then integrating both. And here is the great secret that highly evolved beings are focusing their energies on sharing. Full integration can occur at any moment. The process can be condensed. An entire civilization can begin living as an awakened species whenever it wishes.
Chapter 11.
Okay, it's time to know how to do that. I'm grateful for having been given the opportunity to get to a place where my mind can at least feel more clear about how all this could have happened. But I'm really ready to move forward now. If we're being invited to awaken the species, I want to know to what. What is the way of being to which we might invite everyone to awaken? Are we supposed to simply embrace and adopt the principles and practices, understandings and behaviors of a totally different civilization living in a totally different dimension? Can't we achieve a better life as individuals and a better tomorrow as a global collective using the highest values of humanity?
You certainly can. But it may be helpful and beneficial to you to look in terms of different energies, not different civilizations. This whole question of what makes life work wonderfully, joyously, and masterfully is not a matter of local customs. It is a matter of universal truth regarding life's fundamental energy. There is only one energy or essence in the cosmos, and that is what you have called in human language, love. The ideas that highly evolved beings have sought to place before humanity are simply thoughts about how to live and love in a way that is more beneficial to your species and will give each individual a chance to advance in their personal evolution more quickly. Hebs don't assert that their way of living is right for humans. They simply offer you the opportunity to decide for yourself. This is their way of helping you, even as you may seek to help others to awaken. So it may be of benefit to take a look at these ideas, see if or where you may find a contrast with human behaviors, and decide if you choose to try some new ways of being human.
Well, I agree, and I already know that there will be some contrasts. So how about you tell me what the biggest differences are? I mean, let's cut to the chase here.
The most striking and significant difference is that highly evolved beings are utterly and completely, absolutely and entirely without violence of any kind. They do not engage in physical violence. They do not project verbal violence. They do not even momentarily entertain violence in their thoughts. They do not call violence self-defense. They do not call it entertainment, and they certainly do not call it sport. They simply cannot justify or support the inflicting of physical or emotional pain, not even the slightest discomfort, on any other entity.
Well, is there a formula by which they have been able to achieve this? I mean, what do they know that we don't know that opens the way for them to be like that?
All violence has disappeared from their culture because all anger has disappeared from their reality.
And that is because...
It is because they live in the knowing that they have nothing to lose by being good and kind and caring and compassionate and unselfish and giving and accepting and unconditionally loving in every instance of every moment of every circumstance or situation. They know they cannot lose their life for any reason or in any way, nor can they lose anything else of value to them because nothing else is of value to them other than life itself, their own existence, which they understand is what provides them with the opportunity for the only experience they desire.
Which is?
The experience of their divinity.
So these beings can't be killed? I mean, not even by an outward circumstance, having nothing to do with being violent with each other, like maybe a black hole, just to make something up here, a black hole swallowing their civilization's home?
There is no outward circumstance within the physical universe that could cause them to equate the changing of their manifested form to losing their life or ending their existence.
Wow, so I get it. In other words, moving from the physical into the non-physical isn't seen by them as the end of anything.
That's exactly right. They know that they will always exist and never cease to be, no matter what happens to their physically manifested forms. That includes a black hole swallowing any planet on which they may happen to be embodying.
So when you don't fear losing your life ever, you have no reason to ever become violent. But what about losing something or not being able to get something that you really desire?
You have already been told by masters on your planet that desire that you feel must be satiated is the cause of all suffering, and suffering is the cause of all violence. Eliminate suffering, and violence goes away, evaporates, dissolves, disappears.
So if you're fully awakened, if you're a highly evolved being, you escape all desire?
You escape the incapacitation of desires. You escape the ruination of being ruled by your desires. When you know that your life will never end, you know that anything you wish to experience, you have an eternity to create, or to recreate if you've had it once and wish to experience it again. There's a saying in the cosmos: eternal life brings eternal peace. If, on the other hand, you imagine that you have a limited time in which to experience what you desire to experience, you will give up your peace to acquire it, or to hold on to it if and when you do acquire it.
Oh, boy, that's the story of humanity in 50 words or less, for sure. So life for highly evolved beings from another dimension is felt as an eternal reality.
It is an eternal reality. Life is an eternal experience for all sentient beings. But few sentient beings who think of themselves and express themselves primarily as a physical body experience their eternality as a felt reality. They experience their physicality as their felt reality, and they imagine that when their physicality is over, their existence has come to an end. At best, they hold the idea of eternal life as a concept, a theory, a doctrine or belief, as something that might be, but about which they are not sure. Because the fully awakened entities I have been talking about exist and have their being in another dimension, they are certain that life is eternal.
Well, sure they are, because it's easy for them. I mean, they're experiencing it, not just thinking about it or praying about it or hoping about it. And they have been experiencing it since forever.
So have you. The difference is they know it and you don't. They remember it.
Can we remember it? How can all of us remember it?
What do you think you're doing here?